I'm glad to see everyone here this morning. We are delighted to have you. Okay, who's ever blown through a boundary that you've set for yourself? Oh, the ones, I'll never do that again. I won't allow that to happen. That won't happen to me. And then it does. How do you feel? How do you feel? I usually beat myself up pretty good after that. Yep. Did it again. Blew right through that one. Did you know that the concept of boundaries, it's pretty common in our vernacular, right? We hear about it all the time. And it did not start coming into the vernacular society, if you will, until around the mid 1990s, not that long ago. And it was in clinics and psychology, psychiatry back in the 70s, but it stayed in the clinics until the mid 90s when people began to write about it. We also began to hear about something called codependency. Yeah, you've heard about that, and boundaries and all that stuff. That's when all that started, was the mid 90s. And I think most of us are probably familiar with the concept of what a personal boundary is, that things are okay and these things are not okay, right? We kind of have those within our realm of thought. But how do we create healthy boundaries in our lives? How do we create healthy boundaries without building walls? Because a boundary is kind of like a wall, a limitation. So how do we have a healthy boundary for ourselves without a wall? And how do we maintain our boundaries without jeopardizing our relationships? Can be tricky. Can be tricky. Well, today is our final film in our sizzling summer movies, and we're going to be talking about boundaries, healthy boundaries. And the film is The Devil Wears Prada. The Devil Wears Prada. And that's the original one from about 2006, I believe it was. And it introduces us to Miranda. Miranda is apparently a horrible boss, played by Meryl Streep. And man, she's got some firm boundaries, both professionally and personally. But she does not hesitate to blow through everybody else's. She thinks that's just fine, but don't approach her boundaries, right? So we're going to see that. I think of Miranda like the world of effects. The world of effects just keeps pushing stuff at us all the time. It doesn't care about the effect it has on us, right? It just keeps pushing stuff at us. It's kind of like spam calls. They just keep coming. We block them, we delete them. They just keep coming. Well, that's kind of what Miranda does in this film. In addition to Miranda, we're also going to meet Andrea. Andrea is a recent journalism graduate who needs a job. She needs a paycheck. She has been interviewing all over Chicago. She can't find anything. And somehow, with her resume, she gets into this high fashion magazine and ends up interviewing with Miranda. So we're going to see her navigate office politics, meddling boss, and her own transformation. So it's really an interesting film from the perspective of looking at boundaries and how they get made and crossed and destroyed and all that sort of stuff. But what we're going to look at in our message this morning is not the corporate or professional boundaries, it's our personal boundaries. It's our personal boundaries. What are they? Do we have them? Do we honor the ones that we have? And how do we set them without limiting our spiritual magnificence? To begin, I want you to just take a little breath and consider your own boundaries. Think of some things that you consider to be a no go, a hard preference, a limitation you won't go beyond, a deal breaker. a deal breaker. If this happens, not going any further. Which of those are a little pervious or porous, a little soft? Maybe you waffle a little bit on protecting your personal space or your time. We sometimes do that. Oh, gosh, I got to work late at the expense of something else I was going to do. We sometimes waffle on those. Which ones are rigid, hard, firm? Tuesday night's my self-care night. I'm not going out. I don't care how fun that event is that you want to take me to. I'm not going. This is my self-care night. Which ones are the hard ones, the firm ones in your life? So as you consider that, if you recall, if you've been with us for the past few weeks, we've been discussing relationships of all types all month. That's been our theme. It's all relative. And we've discussed along with that our spiritual principle of oneness. This are one in the divine spirit. And within that, we have an egg upon each other in life, in nature, in all of it. It's a beautiful system that we live in. But how do those principles balance with the idea of boundaries? I'm one. We're one. But I got boundaries. How do we not be too fully in life if we create a boundary or a limitation between us? The principle of oneness asks, why do we even need boundaries? One, we're the same. I think it's important that we first recognize that we set them out of respect for ourselves, out of love for ourselves. When we set boundaries out of become prisons, they can become prisons. If you've ever had a romantic relationship that went wrong and you got hurt, you may have come out of that saying, I'm done. Never going to love again. Got a fence around my heart. Not going to get married. None of that stuff. Done. I'm out. That's a hard boundary, right? But we set that out of fear and out of pain. Maybe we've been an investor in real estate or in the stock market, and the market went down and we lost a lot of money. And we come out of that with the boundary that never going to do that again. They just take your money when you invest. I'm going to keep all of my money right here stuffed in my mattress where it's safe. Hard boundary made from fear, hurt, disappointment. Even though we are spiritually one, even though we are spiritually one, we need boundaries because in that oneness, we are individualized and unique expressions of spirit. And each one of us has free will and choice, don't we? Do we always agree? No, we don't. For ideas and opinions and politics and religion, holy smokes, that could create problems, couldn't it? That could create problems. We step on each other's toes. We hurt each other. We have conflicts with each other. When we set healthy boundaries out of love and respect for ourselves, we begin to communicate our preferences, our limits, and our deal breakers. We begin to understand this law of cause and effect. Here are my boundaries, my limits, my preferences, and my deal breakers. Here are yours. Here's our relationship. If you don't honor my boundaries, then I will step away. Cause and effect. If I don't honor your boundaries, you step away. Cause and effect. Pretty simple, right? Is that how life works? Yes. Is that how most of our relationships work? No. No. When we're honest and authentic in our relationships and with ourselves, we take the masks off. We take those masks off that we've been hiding behind that are not the truth of who we are. People treat us according to what the mask is. If we're wearing a mask of a monkey, we're going to get handed bananas. If we're wearing a mask of a lion, we might get handed a steak, right? It's the mask that we've been presenting. And if we're not authentic and real, then we're just hiding and getting mad and frustrated when people don't treat us the way we want to be treated. Nobody respects me. In the movie, there's a line, and Andrea is complaining to a coworker about how bad Miranda is. And he looks at her and he goes, Miranda knows what you look like. Do you? Do you? Now, that's kind of a hard comment, but it brings home the point that she was complaining about everything rather than recognizing there might be truth in what was being brought to her attention. You'll see that scene in the movie, so you can watch for it later. When I don't know your preferences, when I don't know your limits, when I don't know your deal breakers, I'm going to assume they're the same as mine. Is that true? Would you agree with that? I happen to prefer mint chocolate chip ice cream. So when we go get ice cream, I'm going to buy you mint chocolate chip ice cream. Now I bring it back to the table and you get mad. You get mad because I didn't know your preference is Rocky Road, and I didn't know your limit and your deal breaker is mint because you have a severe allergy to mint and you break out in giant hives. I shouldn't even be eating mint in front of you. It's that bad. Imagine, now ice cream's a silly example, I know, but imagine where we're not communicating even more serious things in relationships that create and cause these conflicts that we deal with on a regular basis. Whereas sharing and revealing lovingly those boundaries that we have. I don't like it when you treat me that way. I don't like it when you say those things. I don't like it when you don't show up on time. I don't like it when. Can we work through this? That's a boundary of me. I feel disrespected when you don't show up on time. Oh, well, I was taking my time because I really wanted to be gorgeous by the time that you got here or saw me. And, I think you're gorgeous all the time. So let's just meet on time or agree to be, 15 minutes late all the time. Whatever that needs to be to make it work. There's a book called Boundary Boss. Have you seen it? Anybody read it? It's a good book. It's a good book. And it teaches us what boundaries are, how to set them. It even has scripts about tough conversations when we're up against boundaries, when someone's violating our boundary, responses that we can use. It's written by Terry Cole. And one of the things that she says is the relationship you have with yourself is the most important relationship in your life because it sets the bar for every other relationship you'll ever have. It sets the bar for every other relationship you'll have. How we treat ourselves is how we teach others to treat us too. So if we don't respect ourselves, if we don't respect our own boundaries, nobody else is going to either because it's obviously not important. It's obviously not important. What is the relationship that you have with yourself? Have you ever asked that? Contemplated it? Do I like me? Do I love me? Do I respect me? Do I honor me? Do I give myself grace in the mistakes? Or am I beating myself up all the time with the monkey chatter in my head, calling myself names? Many of us have someone in our life that we feel that way about, that we give them the grace in the mistakes, that we say kind and loving things to, that we respect and honor. The question is it also yourself? Is it also yourself? If you don't have healthy boundaries or you don't always honor the boundaries that you have, ask yourself, why not? Why not? What causes us to blow through those boundaries that we so adamantly set for ourselves and the vision we have of our life, the design for living that we're creating this year? And what is it that causes us to blow through that? I think it's fear. I think it's fear. Most of us were taught as children to get along with others. Yes? Share your toys, play nice, get along with everybody, right? Most of us heard that messaging. Get along with your schoolmates, share, right? There was even a category on my report card. I don't know if y'all had it. Gets along well with others. Check. We were taught to be nice, even if it meant sacrificing our own personal preferences. But we were kids. We were little. We didn't know. We just, we wanted ice cream and we had to sacrifice and eat broccoli, right? I mean, okay, we're being trained and groomed. Unfortunately, many of us never left that behind. We never grew beyond that. And we try and be nice at any cost. At any cost. And maybe you're thinking, Reverend Jill, you teach kindness. Of course, we're trying to be nice. We're trying to be compassionate. Why wouldn't I be? I want to be liked. I want to fit in. I want to be included. I do. Do you? Yeah, we do. We don't want to miss out. There's a whole thing, FOMO, right? FOMO, fear of missing out. Oh my gosh. We may also think that if we set personal boundaries that we're just being selfish. Just being selfish. Making it all about me. Oh my gosh. I need to think of others first. Now, these are all admirable and noble qualities, and I am not making fun of them. I'm not dissing them. All I'm saying is that all of this is more likely when we have clearly communicated boundaries. Boundaries don't create distance, they create clarity. They create clarity. Speaking our truth about who we are is a heck of a lot better than saying yes and getting bitter and resentful about whatever it is and hanging on to that and poisoning our systems. Those yeses are frequently no's to us. Frequently no's to us. Now, in spiritual communities like this one, we teach spiritual discernment. That's a spiritual practice where we replace being judgmental. Judgmental is when we're usually making something or someone wrong, judging them as wrong. When we are spiritually discerning, we are checking in for the higher wisdom, for Spirit's wisdom about the truth of the situation. We rise above our conditioning of right, I don't want to say right and wrong, but this stuff. And we rise above that to the truth with a capital T of what is happening. Oh, okay, I was judging that person for this, and I realize They too are a child of God, and they are doing the best they can. And, I don't agree with that decision, yet I recognize their right to make it. I recognize their right to make it. It's a deep, prayerful practice to find a higher path to greater wisdom and Spirit's guidance about whatever we're facing, about whatever we're dealing with, whatever we're judging is wrong. I mean, judging wrong stuff is wrong. Doesn't it upset you and make you feel bad? If you could elevate into higher wisdom and find peace in that. Discernment is very important with our boundaries. So we're in integrity with our values. We're in integrity with our values and not just reacting. So for any of us that have blown through our own boundary or had someone steamroll your boundaries, anybody? That happens too. We know that feeling of failure and bitterness that follows that. It feels icky when we do a simple body wisdom check-in. For me, it's kind of here that I feel that I'm out of integrity. I'm out of integrity. Maybe it's your back, your shoulders, your neck, wherever you feel stuff in your body. When we violate our values, our integrity, our boundaries, just check in with your body. Just check in with your body. Because these boundaries are a reflection of our values, this is soul work that we're doing. This is soul work. This is deep inner work that we do to become clear and fearless and committed to setting and maintaining healthy personal boundaries. An important part of creating this new life by design that we've been working on all year. I mean, we can have a life plan, we can have our vision, we can do all the things we've been talking about all year, but if we don't have any boundaries around that, it just falls apart again, doesn't it? So we have to build this, I don't want to say a box around, but we have to build these limitations to our going back into what we always did. We have to give ourselves the safety net to not fall back into the old way of being, to continue our forward evolution, upward, our forward progress. Not only do we need to be clear in our heart and our mind about what those are, but we also need to recognize where they may have been violated in the past. Is there someone in your life that is constantly violating your boundaries, that is constantly causing a challenge for you? It's probably important to recognize that and to prepare yourself for how you will begin to transform that, to explain boundaries in a very open, honest, loving manner, not making them wrong, but loving yourself. Loving yourself. It's said that boundaries are a biological necessity for our spiritual and our emotional regulation and our stress reduction. It makes sense, doesn't it? Because when we violate boundaries, we feel it in our bodies, the cortisol goes up, we get all stressed. We know what's going on, but we still allow that fear of missing out, losing out, getting disconnected, having them leave, whatever those fears are that we have around that. We get caught up in that and we allow it to happen again. As I said, we've talked in the last 3 weeks about oneness, interdependence, and connection, and how we're wired for group approval because we are one. Because we are one, we all want to fit in. We all want to find our tribe, and we all want to be accepted. Those are basic things in life, right? I want that. Wasn't it awful when you were younger if you were ever not selected on the team or the last one to get picked? Wasn't that horrible? I mean, it feels awful. We all remember that as kids if it happened to you. Because we want to fit in, we want to be included, and we still do as adults. Everybody just wants to be loved and be included. When we begin to honor a boundary, to say no to something, it can actually trigger fight or flight. Did you know that? It can actually trigger fight or flight in us, which is, again, why we have a problem sometimes holding those boundaries. It triggers conflict inside of us. On one hand, we're protecting ourselves. That's my boundary. But on the other hand, we're terrified we're going to get rejected if we do that. Oh my gosh. Which is more important? To stand in my truth or to let them run over my boundary and still be part of it? That's tough, isn't it? That's tough. And I would bet it changes frequently depending on the circumstances and depending on where we are mentally in that moment, how we're feeling about ourselves. Are we steeped in self-love? It's like, you know what? I'm going to do this instead of that. If we're feeling disconnected, if we're feeling unloved, we're never going to do that. We're never going to honor that boundary. We're going to stay safe. We're going to stay connected, aren't we? Protection and rejection. It's a tough thing to deal with. If you struggled with setting or maintaining healthy personal boundaries, it can feel terrifying to start. It really can. But we only start where we are. That's the only place we can ever start anything, is right exactly where we are, one day at a time. The fear of someone not liking us or getting mad at us is very real. It's very real. But it's important to remember that the people who love us will still love us. And they will adjust to getting to know this new, wonderful, beautiful, authentic you. And they will still love us. And they will grow in their respect of us also. Now, as for anyone who's been manipulating your lack of boundaries, well, let's just say they might just end up in the fountain. And that'll make sense after the movie today. Our spiritual practice this week is discernment. I want you to practice this week, to try it on. Again, it's deep listening to recognize what's true, aligned, and life-giving for us. It's discerning the difference between the guidance of spirit and our own guidance, listening for that higher wisdom, that higher intelligence. It's making decisions and choices then from that awareness, not from our conditioning, not from fear, not from pressure. It supports us setting and maintaining healthy boundaries. So this week, before you say yes, before you set a new boundary, before you respond to a conflict or make any significant decision, pause and ask, does this choice come from my old patterns or from the person I'm becoming? Does it come from the old programming, the old patterns, or does it come from my new plan for living, my new design for life? Does it support that? And spend some time in meditation and reflection on the issue and listen deeply for spiritual truth to be revealed through you around this subject. Spirit's guidance rather than our own. Pause, listen, discern, then choose. Discernment isn't about figuring out what everyone else wants from us. It's about becoming quiet enough to tap into our soul's wisdom, to know what Spirit is doing through us and what it's not. This week, let's remember our interconnected wholeness and our spirit individuality. So it is. All right. I will open the mic if anybody has any questions or comments. Okay.
Okay, so past month or so, I've been evaluating my life, setting a lot of boundaries with people. If they don't lead to my happiness, if there's stuff that doesn't feel good, I'm distancing myself
Mhm.
from them, and I let them know that. And then I'm thinking about, okay, after I work on me for a while, do I want them back in my life? And one of them is a for sure no, because it's just not, it's not me. It's not who I am. It's not how I,
Mhm.
so yeah, it's really cool. And and I don't feel bad about it. They don't know that they're not in my life anymore, but they will. They will. Hey,
It's called growth.
yep, for totally. Yes.
And, being individualized and unique expressions of God, we grow differently. We all grow at different paces and all of that. So, congratulations on your growth. On your growth. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right. Shall we ground in prayer this morning? Would you join me? So, as we go within, we recognize that there is only one, and it is Spirit. It is universal presence. It is the universal energy. It is life itself. We call it God. It may be called Allah. It may be called George. It doesn't matter what we call it. It is the Holy Spirit. It is the allness that is. It is that which has created all of itself and is enthroned as all of its creation. It is Spirit, source, essence, presence. It is love and harmony, joy and peace, prosperity and wisdom. And all of that is here right now, present. Enthroned as me, enthroned as this room, and enthroned as each one of us gathered here today in the room and online, those listening later and hearing these words. For we know there's no separation. There is only one. There's only unity. There's only wholeness. And we are united in this one spirit, individualized and unique, creative in our own expression. And so, in this place of unity, this place of knowing the divine, I speak my word for and about each of us, knowing that we are gathered by a divine appointment this morning, that we are here for this message, we are here for the connection, we are here for this community, that we've been called forth to be in community this day. And I know as we live this message this week, this message of healthy boundaries, this message of loving ourselves, that we demonstrate on a powerful level that self-love, that self-respect, that kindness to ourselves. And that ripples out to everyone we meet, for that's how it works. And I know each of us is absolutely whole, perfect, and complete in this moment, that we are healed, that we are peaceful, that we are abundant and prosperous, that we are joy. I bless all faith traditions this morning, knowing that there are many paths to the divine. This is but one. There are many, and they are all blessed because we are all seeking that deeper relationship with that which is greater than we are, that which is beyond our understanding, that which we know only as love. And I know this day for anyone that has anything on their heart, as they bring that into their awareness, into the consciousness of this prayer, that we lift them into our love, into our joy, our peace, prosperity, and wisdom, knowing healing, knowing truth revealed, knowing perfect and divine right action, order expressing the all good flowing. And how grateful I am for the manifestation of this prayer, for this community, for each and everyone who attends and supports it. We are blessed. We are so blessed, so grateful. As I release this into the action and activity of law, knowing that the word spoken is the word done, is the word complete. I release it, I let it be, and we affirm the truth together by saying, and so it is.